Utility. Utility is the one satisfying power of the commodity. Types of utility. Form utility. Utility created by change in form of commodity. Example, wood to furniture, cotton to cloth. Place utility. Utility created by changing place of commodity. Example, coal in the underground to the factory, timber in the forest to the market. Time utility. Utility created by changing time of supply of goods. Example, food grain stored in harvest season to supply in rainy season. Service utility. Utility created and added by rendering services. Example, service of doctors, teachers, etc. Total utility and marginal utility. Total utility is the amount of satisfaction derived from consumption of a commodity. Marginal utility is the change in total utility. As more and more of a commodity is consumed, total utility will increase at a diminishing rate. Marginal utility can also be said as the extra utility derived by buying or consuming an additional unit of the commodity. Let's explain this with a table. In this table, we have the units total utility and marginal utility. For the first unit of good or service consumed, the total utility is 20. So the marginal utility is also 20. For the second good consumed, the total utility has increased to 36. The change from 20 to 36 in this total utility is the marginal utility, which is 36 minus 20, 16. For the third good consumed, the total utility has increased to 48. So the marginal utility, 48 minus 36 is 12. Similarly, for the fourth unit consumed, the total utility has increased by 8 units. For the fifth unit consumed, the total utility has changed from 56 to 60. So the marginal utility is 4. Now note that in the sixth unit consumed, total utility remains the same, 60. So the marginal utility is 0 because there is no change in the total utility. For the seventh unit of good or service consumed, the total utility has decreased to 56. It has decreased by 4 units, so the marginal utility is minus 4. For the eighth good consumed, the total utility has again decreased to 50. This difference, 56 minus 50, is the marginal utility, and it is in negative terms because the total utility has diminished. Now let's take a look at this in a graph form. On the x-axis we have number of units, and on the y-axis we have total utility and marginal utility. If we plot these points of total utility and marginal utility, we get the total utility and marginal utility curves. For the first good consumed, we plot the point for both at 20. For the second unit consumed, we plot the point at 36 for TU, which is the total utility, and 16 for the MU, which is the marginal utility. Similarly, if we plot the points of total utility and marginal utility for all the units consumed, we will get these two curves, which is the total utility curve and the marginal utility curve. Now let's explain both the curves. Firstly, total utility increases in a diminishing rate and the marginal utility falls. On the second stage, total utility is maximum at the sixth unit and MU, which is the marginal utility, is 0. Thirdly, total utility falls after that, while marginal utility becomes negative and falls. To calculate the marginal utility, we can use this formula MUN is equal to TUN minus TUN minus 1 divided by N minus N minus 1. This is nothing but the total utility of the present unit minus the total utility of the previous unit of good consumed divided by the number of units consumed and the previous unit consumed. For the third marginal utility, we can calculate it as TU3 minus TU2 divided by 3 minus 2, which is equal to 48 minus 36 divided by 3 minus 2, which is 12. So the marginal utility of the third unit is 12. This is how we calculate the marginal utility with this formula.